Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse has given a pretty strong warning about what's going to happen from a political perspective as a result of the reign of SEC Supreme Leader and Dictator Kim Jong-Ginsler and, frankly, everybody else associated with the party that's in charge from the top down at this particular point in time. And it's fascinating, and I think he's right, but it's also fascinating because Ripple's chief legal officer has expressed a different point of view in a way. And I'll show you, I'm going to cover all this towards the beginning part of this video. But suffice it to say, what's happening right now, this attack on crypto, not only does it not make sense from a legal perspective, it doesn't make sense from, from a market perspective, it also doesn't make any damn sense from a political perspective. You are like, if you are anti-crypto, you are just you're chastising an entire voter bloc. What is your malfunction? This is not good, and there are lots of people who think that this is going to be the downfall for a particular political party. Let's say here. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so for those of you that may be new to my channel, just to be clear, this is not a political channel. I am not going to be preaching political beliefs to you at all. The only time that I speak about anything remotely political is when it has to do with finance or typically more specifically crypto. Then I will, because that's not me jumping into politics. No. That's politics jumping into my end of the pool, right? Get the hell out. Okay, that's my attitude about it. So I will do that, but I don't care if you're more on the left or more on the right politically. Doesn't matter. We're all here in the crypto community. We have a strong overlap. An Venn diagram, that's a pretty important point in my mind. This is, for many people, including me, a very important point when it comes to selecting who I'm going to vote for. This is a major issue, has specifically to do with my personal financial well-being and yours as well. If you're in crypto, you well know this. And so just be aware, even if you are going to vote for the current administration, if you want to keep that in charge, if that's your conviction, go for it. I can respect that to a certain degree, of course. But just understand that what you're doing is voting against your personal financial interest as it pertains to crypto. But if you care, if you're not a one-issue voter, and I'm not either, I can understand. And so if the other issues you believe in, if that's more important, okay, but just be aware of what you're doing here. Because you're asking for more of the same, which is punishment. That's what you're asking for. And so there was this post from somebody named Tara on social media platform X, and she wrote the following. I'm certainly not Satoshi, but I was at XRP Las Vegas, and I don't claim to understand all the political nuances here, but I cannot understand how crypto became a partisan political issue in the United States. Crypto is a job creator, a tax generator, and a transformational technology. Yeah, right. And so I think that that's pretty much how all of us feel in the world of crypto, and Brad Garlinghouse agrees. So he shared a post, Brad Garlinghouse did, he shared a post from Mike Novogratz, a billionaire CEO and founder of Galaxy. And Mike Novogratz wrote the following. And mind you, Mike Novogratz, he's a Democrat. He's on the right, and he thinks that what the Democrats are doing right now is stupid. And it is. Of course it's stupid. This is not something that's going to be good for them. It's just astonishing me. They're just throwing at an entire voter bloc. They're like, nope, we don't want you. Really? Because there's nothing partisan about this. This should be easy to just try and pick up. And it's so interesting because the Republicans, Trump specifically, he's easily identified this, and he's just going the opposite direction in it. And I don't care if his conviction is particularly strong. If he's going in that direction, he's like, that's the smarter political move, is it not? And so Mike Novogratz wrote, it is unbelievable that the Dems are willing to die on the crypto hill. Crypto should be a bipartisan non-issue. Spot on, Mike Novogratz. Then he said, Senator Elizabeth Warren and her minions have politicized it and have turned millions of single-issue voters towards Trump. Now, that is true. That is absolutely true. And so that was reposted by Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, and here's what he wrote. Given how close the last election was, I predict that this will end up being the issue that pushes swing state voters away from the Democrats. When will they realize Senator Elizabeth Warren is leading them off a cliff? And so, and I'm glad he shared that. In Brad Garlinghouse, I mean, I'm pulling from memory here. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I could have sworn that he had donated a ton of money to people that were on the left, and he's saying this. And so my point is, if you're in the world of crypto, it seems like pretty much everyone, regardless of whether you lean more left or right, and again, I don't care. That's not what this channel's about. It seems like pretty much everybody is acknowledging, even people on the left, if you're in crypto, you're like, yeah, this is pretty stupid. This is dumb as hell. It just does not make sense. And here's one example. Somebody named Based Bitcoin wrote to Mike Novogratz and said, I'm a lifetime Democrat, only ever voting Democrat up and down the ticket, and will be voting Republican up and down the ticket for the first time ever this year, solely because of crypto policies. There are many like me. Democrats will lose and learn a hard lesson. And so that's obviously an anecdotal incident, but there's really something to this. It's just amazing to me that they'd throw this out. You know, they could. It's so partisan, and it shouldn't be. There's nothing innately partisan about crypto, but politicians just made it that way. Isn't that stupid as hell? All right, so check this out, because we got to get into what Ripple's chief legal officer had to say, which I just respectfully disagree with. But you guys remember this story from a couple days ago? House votes to nullify SEC's anti-crypto banking guidance, SAB 121. All you need to know, just so I can move forward with the video, is that the SEC issued what was called SAB 121. I think it's Staff Accounting Bulletin. I think that's what that stands for. And it's an anti-crypto rule basically set up by the SEC, and usually with the nature of how strong the rule is, it would be something that would have to go through a more rigorous process to get approved, rather than just where the SEC were dictating this, which for smaller issues with a staff bulletin, that's what you could do, and it can be appropriate to do that. But with something as big as this, it's all encompassing, and many House representatives and others have argued that it's actually straight up illegal. And so there was a push. In the House, there's a vote a couple days ago to repeal SAB 121, and the vote passed. Now, of course, it still has to go through the Senate, and then President Biden would have to sign it. Biden's already indicated that, no, he likes the Kim Jong-Gensler plan, and he will veto it. And so that's the administration in charge right now. Again, they don't care about what you want for your financial well-being. They don't want you to have your opportunity for life-changing wealth. There's just opportunity for you be damned. And so just squash it all. That if they could have their way, that's the route that they'd go. And so that news came out a couple days ago, and the division across party lines is just staggering. It just is. So to check this out, there's a post from Paul Graywall. He's the chief legal officer at Coinbase, and he wrote, SAB 121 repeal passed with 21 Democrat yes votes listed below, all despite an inexcusable presidential veto threat. Thank you to these independent thinkers. The political tides increasingly turn in favor of sensible rules for crypto. History is not going to be kind to the holdouts. And so, indeed, credit to those Democrats, it's due here, for pushing against the status quo, pushing against the party prerogative, which is to squash crypto. That is the prerogative for those on the left. It's coming from the top down, straight from the White House. So still credit to those. It's a small percentage of them, but great to see that, right? So we can all agree on that. Well, check this out, though. Ripple CEO Stuart Alderoty, he had a bit of a different take here. So I'm going to push back against his idea. Now, mind you, I have all the respect in the world for Stuart Alderoty, so I'm just respectfully disagreeing with what he stated here. That's it. And I'm disagreeing based on the actual facts, as I will cite in just a moment here. But I've highlighted him on my channel, I don't even know, an untold number of times over the years. And this is the first thing I think he's ever posted where I'm like, no, that's wrong, and I disagree with it. And it's okay to, it's totally fine to disagree, just to be clear. Just because I disagree with somebody, it's not an attack. I just think that this is a wrong take, and anybody is welcome to think that my take is wrong. I'm not offended because if any of you don't agree with me, none of you are going to agree with me 100% of the time. I'm not offended by that. And so here's an instance where I just respectfully disagree. But Stuart Alderoty wrote the following. Innovation shouldn't be a partisan issue. Glad to see the Democrats and Republicans can agree on one thing at least. Gensler's SEC is out of control. So I read that and my jaw dropped because I know that that's not true. He said, glad to see that Democrats and Republicans can agree on one thing, that Gensler's SEC is out of control. No, they don't. It's a small number of Democrats, but you didn't say some Democrats. You made a blanket statement about Democrats and Republicans, and that's not sufficiently in line with what actually happened with this vote. And I want to highlight this because, as I'll show you in a second, he's not the only one that was pushing that particular narrative, which is not true, and I don't think it's good. So I don't know if he just misread the story. Maybe he glanced at it and he didn't know the facts and he just got it wrong. Maybe he wrote this in a way that isn't as precise as he should have. But if he actually believes this, that's very shocking to me. If he believes if you take what he wrote there, he genuinely believes that, he is wrong. But I mean, if he's entitled to his opinion, but that would just be disastrously wrong, and I think it wouldn't be in line with what's actually happening in reality. And so I responded with the following post. I wrote, I respectfully disagree based on the facts of this vote. All 207 Republicans in the House voted to axe Gensler's anti-crypto SAB 121. Only 21 Democrats also voted to axe SAB 121, while 182 Democrats voted to keep it. Clearly, the vast majority of Democrats support Gensler's agenda, while Republicans do not. Crypto shouldn't be partisan, but politicians made it that way. People need to be aware of this data, as it will impact how they vote. And so that's the reason that I wanted to respectfully push back against this, because there are multiple people who are well-respected, well-informed, intelligent people who had been saying things along these lines, which I know to not be true. It just isn't. Just look at the facts. You can't. How can you look at this vote? 207 Republicans voting to axe this thing, 182 Democrats voting to keep it. How can you look at that and then with a straight face write, glad to see Democrats and Republicans can agree on one thing, at least Gensler's SEC is out of control? How can you? I mean, if you said glad to see at least a small number of the Democrats agree with the rest of the Republicans, or if he said that, then this highlights that we got a long way to go, or that if he would just highlight that this is partisan, because look, he said innovation shouldn't be a partisan issue, right? But it is here. They made it partisan. So that's why I had to just respectfully disagree. And here's another example of this. This is a post from Sam Lyman, director of public policy at Riot Platforms. He's a contributor at Forbes, Princeton alum, and he's also got it wrong. And so I'm just going to highlight two examples. This is the second one. He just got it wrong. And he said, crypto is not a partisan issue. It's a generational one. Case in point, 21 Dems voted yesterday to rein in Gensler's overreach on crypto. The average age of this voting group, 48. Contrast these young Gen Xers to the Dem Party leaders they defied with yesterday's vote. Maxine Waters is 85, Joe Biden is 81, Elizabeth Warren is 74. When it comes to digital assets, where a policymaker stands is more about age than political affiliation. We need more innovation-friendly Dems whose minds are oriented to the possibilities of the future. In other words, real progressives. And so what he's saying here is just blatantly false. It just is. This is not true. I showed you the numbers. I just showed you the numbers. It's not about age. Now, of course, it is more likely that older generations are less likely to be accepting of crypto technology than younger generations. I'll say yes, of course. That's true with pretty much any technology out there. But it's not the case that it's straight up across lines based entirely on age. If that were the case, then there would be all sorts of Republicans that were voting against this, and then the younger Republicans would be voting in favor of axing these things. The older ones wouldn't. That's not true. It's very clearly cut across party lines, with only a few. Like in terms, it's a small percentage of Democrats defecting from the party line. It's a small percentage of 21, but then 182 voted to keep the damn thing, right? So again, I saw this, and two examples, but I saw this a ton of time over and over again. I don't know why this is why do we need why are we going to accept this false narrative? That's not good. This doesn't help people. Tell the truth. If anything, so even if you're just trying to sugarcoat it because you're a Democrat, well, instead just be intellectually honest and try and persuade the Democrats to stop being against crypto. Like, why wouldn't you just go that? But to pretend like they're like everybody just agrees, that's not. And it's just an age thing. It's not just an age thing. That's a small component of this. And so I responded to him and indicated that. And for the sake of time, I won't read it. It's on your screen right there. but it just doesn't make sense. Here's Mark Cuban, you know him, billionaire of Shark Tank fame. He's on the left politically also, obviously. And he recognizes this as well. So he clearly agrees with Brad Garlinghouse, and he clearly does not agree with the sentiment from Stuart Alderati, Ripple's chief legal officer. Here's what Mark Cuban had to say. If Joe Biden loses, there is a good chance you will be able to thank Gary Gensler and the New York, which account? Yeah, SEC, so just SEC New York. Crypto is a mainstay with younger and independent voters. Gensler has not protected a single investor against fraud. All he has done is make it nearly impossible for legitimate crypto companies to operate, killing who knows how many businesses and ruining who knows how many entrepreneurs. This is also a warning to Congress. Crypto voters will be heard this election. You could solve this problem for Biden by passing legislation that defines registration that is specific to the crypto industry, just as other industries have registration that is defined for them. Or you could do the better option and assign all crypto to be regulated by the CFTC. They actually know what they are doing. Yeah, so I don't know for sure if the CFTC option is the right way to go about this. There needs to be clear rules of the road, and I think you need more than that from Congress, rather than just shifting it from one bureaucracy to another bureaucracy, like from one agency to another. I think you probably need to do a little bit more than that. Now, the SEC is so toxic, I'd still say I'd prefer the CFTC over the SEC. Sure, fine. I'm not sure that's the perfect answer, though. But still, what he's saying here, I agree with the rest of it. It's very clear that this is not a winning approach, and with each subsequent election from here, not more and more people will be in crypto, so it'll just be that worse of a political stance with every 4-year cycle. It's very clearly that's the case. Adoption in the United States of crypto, it's going one direction here. So this is stupid as hell. And of course, Trump is capitalizing on this. Here's a headline from the Daily Huddle. I'm fine with it. Donald Trump, a former digital asset skeptic, continues to court the crypto vote. And I remember, obviously his administration was not nearly as bad as what we've seen under Biden. That's obvious. But he was not pro-crypto. And so whether he suddenly understands the technology deeply, which I'm skeptical of, or if he's just recognizing that, hey, you can pick up a voter block, maybe he just doesn't care enough, maybe he's been persuaded to some degree, even if he doesn't deeply understand, whatever it is, I'll just tell you this. We know what happens under the continuation of this administration, but at least with Trump, should he ever regain power, then, at least there's a chance that he could go in a 180 degrees. And there are some people saying, yeah, but he's just lying and bringing up this past position. Well, I mean, for sure what's going to happen with Biden, so that's worse if you just look at it from a logical perspective. With Trump, at least there's a chance you get something that's better than this, right? But anyway, so even if he's just doing it to out of spite for partisan reasons, if he's pro crypto, cool, okay. I mean, I'll take that's better. Duh. Piece reads as follows: Former U.S. President Donald Trump is seeking to support the support of the crypto community to return to the White House. In video shared by crypto influencer Frank DeGods on the social media platform X, Trump tells a group of supporters who bought his mugshot edition non-fungible tokens that he is accepting crypto donations for his campaign. Quote, "Can we donate to the Trump campaign using crypto? I believe the answer is yes," end quote. He also criticizes President Joe Biden and U.S. Securities Chairman Gary Gensler, saying they are against digital assets. Quote, "SEC Chair Gensler is very much against it. The Democrats are very much against it," end quote. Trump also says he does not have a problem with the current popularity of crypto as he woos digital asset supporters to vote for him in the upcoming November election. Quote, "A lot of people are very much for it. Probably a lot of people in this group, and I'm fine with it. I want to make sure it's good and solid and everything else, but I'm good with it. If you like crypto in any form, and it comes in a lot of different forms, if you're in favor of crypto, you'd better vote for Trump," end quote. That's what he had to say. And by the way, he said crypto specifically, not just Bitcoin. He's speaking for the first time about crypto broadly. You don't usually see, it's almost, with these politicians, it's almost always Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. Well, okay, what about everything else? There's other stuff that matters. So, We'll see. Either way, so again, bare minimum, this is a stupid political move for Biden. But in terms of what's in the best interest for people who hold crypto, well, not what is currently in place. So is what it is. And I just feel like there's so many of us, we have so much financially on the line. Like, we have to acknowledge reality, and we should be pushing back against this. So you guys, I'm not telling you guys how to. You do whatever you want. I don't care if we agree politically or we don't. We have this common interest. We can still be friends. That's a background message. But first and foremost, I just want to point out that this has got to be stopped. And so the messaging has got to get out there. And so pretending like it's not an issue, that's not a thing. This is very clearly partisan. One political party is pro-crypto, one is against crypto, broadly speaking. There are some exceptions, but not a ton. It very clearly is the case. That's how stupid this is. And it shouldn't be. This is not something that innately should be partisan. It really grinds my gears, folks. Just stupid as hell. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.